Today I'm going to share something with you that is quite alarming. And yet it's the damn truth and the brutal truth of how well or unwell we're doing in society with our bodies. And I started doing some research and I was looking for information on how much are people actually fulfilling the minimum recommendation of physical activity guidelines. And I found out that only about 23 to 25% of adults worldwide are meeting those minimal recommendation of physical activity. So that's not great, but it's not bad either. But where it started to get shocking is that of these 23 to 25% of adults worldwide doing a minimum of physical activity on a regular basis, very few of those 25% are actually doing a balanced mix of strength, mobility, and endurance work. So there is no real strategy behind what these 25%, so a quarter of the world, is actually doing when they're exercise. They just put their shoes on or they put their tank top on and off they go and hit the gym or hit their classes or go for a run and expect to get better because they showed up, which already is better than 3/4 of the population which doesn't show up for their body at all. But where it gets rather shocking, it's when it comes to consistency, which means people showing up on a weekly, year-round basis without falling off for weeks or for months. That figure of 25% drops down to around 10 to 15%, depending on the age, the location, and the lifestyle. So we can literally cut it in half. So in the end, roughly 85 to 90% of people are not consistently showing up for their body in the way that builds long-term strength, long-term mobility and agility, and long-term resilience for optimum longevity. So, meaning adding quality to your years, adding life, thriving energy to the years that you are going to have. So let me ask you the very uncomfortable question. Where are you in this equation? Where are you in the percentage? Are you part of the 1/4 of the people who are meeting the minimal recommendations? Are you part of those who are, if we drop it by half again, are not really strategizing, are not really having a plan of making sure that you are equally balanced in your efforts when it comes to strength, to mobility, and to endurance, working your force and power, working your suppleness and flexibility, and working your stamina and your heart? Or are you part of those who are inconsistent, which means it drops again? Or are you part of the people, like I can very proudly say I am, that is doing consistent, strategized work on a weekly basis because I choose to invest in my body and not to use my body? I understand that what you put in is what you get back in return, like any investment. I understand that my body is an investment and it's one of my most precious and more highly valued investments I have. It is what's carrying me every day. It is what's giving me the possibility to fulfill my dreams, to be in action, to be in motion, to create energy, to manifest. So we don't realize until sometimes we see figures and we see stats on how well or maybe how unwell we're doing and where we're heading. And I truly believe that we need a wake-up call. We need to be reminded of the importance of showing up for our body, Because every time we do, our body's thanking us. Every time we do, even if it's not strategized, even if it's not well tailored, it is grateful, appreciative of you giving it the attention, the time, and the awareness it also needs in return. Because it is your most resilient, your most devoted friend and ally for your entire life. It is the one home you will live in your entire existence. And you would never let your house, your home, become so run down, not tidy up, not clean up, not make it pretty, like you would for your body. And therefore, let us start small, but strategized. So whatever you want to get started, it only takes really 15 to 20 minutes of full body exercise techniques that allow you to cater for every single body part. Of course, the more you do, the more stamina you'll have, the more endurance you'll have, the more force you'll have, the more power you'll build. But it's not necessary. But showing up is the first and most important element of you turning your body into your greatest asset, your most valuable investment, and not letting it become your worst liability. Pilates is the one exercise technique I know of that allows you to strategize, optimize, and amplify the best way everything your body has to offer. It is the one technique I know of that allows you in less than 20 minutes to go into a thriving state, to build muscle, to build mobility, and to build endurance if it's done a certain way and it's done right. Look at your strategy. Think about the strategy you have done and that you have followed. Make sure that you have mobility work, full body strength work, and endurance work. And I urge you to adjust, to adapt. So now that you kind of know where you stand, and maybe you became more aware of maybe a certain urgency of you reconsidering turning your body into one of your greatest assets. What shall I do, Eva? Well, to keep it very simple, of course, every strategy is mostly efficient when we are adjusting it to where you are, to how your body is doing right now, to where you want to head, the lifestyle you're having, the stress levels you're having, your food, your sleeping patterns. There's so many parameters that really come into consideration if you want something very tailor-based. But as I said, this is haute couture. We don't need to walk around in an haute couture in a Karl Lagerfeld dress every day. If you do, that's fantastic, and you're going to look and feel like $1 million. And therefore, you might want to have a trainer who helps you with that. Somebody who understands the greater picture, not just someone who applies formulas. But I want you to be efficient at catering for your own self. And to keep it very simple, the body needs for you to show up, ideally, for it to continuously progress 1.5 times a week. That's what has been working for the past 20 years for my clients. What does that mean, Eva? It means that ideally, every 4 days in the week, you need another stimulation, because repetition is the mastery of all skills, of all excellence. So if you want your body to become excellent at supporting you, at feeling a certain way, at looking a certain way, at doing a certain way, you want to show up every 4 days for it. Because after the 4th day of non-repetitive work, that's where consistency is the key. You start to lose every day a certain percentage of what you had accomplished and acquired in your previous session. So if you want to build in a consistent way, show up every 4 days. The minimum would be once a week. With once a week, you can maintain, but you're not going to have huge progress. If you do twice a week, you're going to progress on a continuous basis. If you show up 3 times a week for yourself, so every 2 days, you're not just progressing, but you're actually truly turning your body into your greatest and most highly valued asset. There is no way for your body to not get better, even if you just show up once a week. Now, how do you strategize that? It's very simple. You need to have a mobility component, so making your body more flexible and more agile. That does not mean stretching. It means you're moving your body in all directions with care, ease, and resilient work, giving your body freedom. That's what mobility means. Stretching is just randomly pulling on muscle to make them longer and looser. We don't want a longer, looser body. We may want to be taller. We want a taller body, but we want to stay agile and free of tension. That's mobility. The other parameter is strength. You want to use your body weight. Acknowledge the weight that you're lifting through your ankle, through your knee, through your hips, through your spine, through your shoulder, through your elbow, through your hands, through your wrist, through your chest, through your neck, through your head. You want to feel gravity pulling you, challenging you, and use that universal force that is available to you 24/7 to carry your body with tone and firmness, not tension and stiffness. We are not contracting our body. We are engaging our body. We don't work on getting stiffer and harder. We work on becoming more spongy and more firm and toned. And that's a parameter you want to consider when you train. And the other part is endurance. So either you are working out at a certain pace where you are not out of breath, but you feel the rhythm of your heart going a little higher. So it's consistent. In cardiovascular work, we would call it zone 1. It is a zone where we are strengthening and thickening our heart so that our heart becomes bigger. Therefore, it can support greater endurance work. Or we go for walks. Just a 20 to 30-minute walk is enough. And ideally, if you want to do things perfectly, a la Karl Lagerfeld, haute couture style, you have about 2 hours to 2.5 hours of cardio a week, which means around, ideally, 70,000 steps a week. But it's perfectly fine as well if you just are around 35 to 40,000 steps. It's still better than anything most people do. So if I recap that, you can either show up for yourself with short sessions, 15 to 20-minute sessions on pure mobility. Another day, you do 15 to 20 minutes of pure strength, full body weight-bearing exercises. And you spend at least 15 to 20 minutes, I would say ideally 30, let's stretch it, on just doing vascular work, which could be on a bike, could be walking, or could be a consistent, a little more demanding workout session. So either you split this in 3 times, which means you show up for your body every 2 days, or you squeeze this in 1 session, which will give you a full body Pilates class, which is about a 50 to 60-minute class, where basically we keep going at a certain rhythm for the stamina. We're going to have equal amount of mobility and strength work in a session, which is basically a Pilates workout. So there's many ways you can strategize when it comes to how you will be the most efficient for your body. And we are more than happy to help you figure out what the strategy is. But there's also another way for you to maybe go back on a certain topic we talked about, and to go back to a previous podcast where we talk about how we can allocate our efforts and our investment in our body. Remember, allocate energy to your care bucket. Allocate energy to your balance bucket. Allocate the care and the effort and the energy to your performance bucket. These 3 buckets are one way to strategize your body ideally. And no matter what you do, put it in your agenda, plan ahead, and make sure you're showing up on a weekly basis, which is the minimum you need to do to cater for your body from head to toe. If you need any help with it, if you want any support with it, we have plenty of ways to come in and to help you with that. And it's absolutely free of charge because Pilates had one vision, and it was to help people become happier with a body that is supporting them and a body that is cared for smartly. So reach out. We are not born strategists when it comes to our body. We have not been taught how to do that. But you can learn, and it's simple, and it's clear, and it works. My name is Eva. I'm looking forward to you, and keep showing up for your body. It will thank you more than you could ever imagine.